Yo YouTube, what's going on? It's HIGHMMA, and today we are here to discuss the recently announced UFC 310 card. It is Belal Muhammad versus Shavkat Rakhmonov happening this December. It is actually cool to see welterweight becoming an active division again, man. I can't really say anything bad about Belal, and I am actually going to be picking Belal. Yeah, crazy shit. So let's not fuck around, let's get straight into it, and we've got some other fights to talk about on the card as well. So let's not fuck around with our dicks in our palms, let's get straight into the first fight we're discussing today. It is the main event, Belal Muhammad versus Shavkat Rakhmonov. I am super excited for this fight. I think we all knew this fight was going to be happening next, regardless of who won at UFC 304. Now, let's get into the actual details of the fight. We have the champion Belal Muhammad coming off of a 6-year winning streak. Just put a crazy pace on Leon Edwards, the one that people would try to say is the third greatest welterweight of all time. And it really makes you ask the question, where is Belal Muhammad of all time at welterweight? As of right now, it seems that Shavkat is the most dangerous contender in welterweight. He's undefeated. Every fight of his, he's found the finish. So, it begs the question, who's better than Shavkat in terms of next contender up? Who's going to take the belt off of Belal? Because even though he is really, really good, I'm talking about Shavkat here, I don't know if his skills are good enough yet for the likes of Belal Muhammad, a seasoned veteran. His skills are at an all-time high right now. He is in his absolute prime, despite the later age. I feel like in this fight, Belal Muhammad is going to cut off the distance like he did against Leon Edwards. Shavkat Rakhmonov is a lot taller than him. He's someone that's going to need distance to get his strikes off. And don't get me wrong, he is really good in the clinch, which is going to pose problems for Belal getting in close. But I feel like there will be a lot of moments where Belal finds success in the boxing, getting up close and just teeing off on Shavkat Rakhmonov. That is his best bet in the striking. He does not want to give Shavkat range to get off kicks because they will punish him, and he doesn't want to always be in too close with Shavkat because of the clinch threat. Now, getting onto the grappling, I do feel like Belal Muhammad's grappling is superior to Shavkat Rakhmonov's, and I feel like if this fight hits the mat, we are going to see a grappling advantage in Belal's favor. I just don't think that Shavkat, he trained with Usman a little bit in the past, I'm pretty sure, but that is nothing on training with the likes of Khabib and Islam in the grappling department. These are the greatest grapplers in the sport, and Belal Muhammad is one of the greatest grapplers of the sport, and he's going to show it in this fight when he takes Shavkat Rakhmonov to a decision and dominates him. I feel like Shavkat might take a round, maybe two if he's lucky, but I really think we're looking at a Belal win right here. Even though I've hated on Belal in the past, I really feel like this is a fight where he's going to get counted out again, as he has been for the last 6 years. But you know what? I'm rooting for him. I think he's going to get this win, and it is Belal season, boys. Let's move on to the next fight we've got to talk about today, though. It is Alexandre Pantoja versus the newcomer Asakura. Rising champion coming over from Japan, looking sick, one of the most followed MMA fighters in Japan. This guy is a superstar over there, and he's coming from a promotion where they do create some killers. You have the likes of Yuri Prohaska that have come from Rising. This is a sick promotion, and I feel like it doesn't get enough respect in the MMA scene. But let's point out something very, very obvious that I feel like not enough people are talking about. I've seen Guru say it, but Asakura is used to throwing soccer kicks and knees to grounded opponents, all of this shit. And don't get me wrong, the UFC would be a way, way more enjoyable sport to watch if they had it included, but they don't. Is this going to be a struggle for Asakura against Pantoja, someone that does like to grapple and he does like to stink it up a bit in fights? And I feel like, we could honestly be looking at a potential DQ here, an accidental Peter Yan moment. You never fucking know, man. But let's talk about just the basic fundamentals of these two fighters, what their kind of styles and habits are. You've got Asakura, who hasn't actually fought that often, meaning he's going to be kind of fresh. He's been used to fighting at bantamweight, but he's coming back down to flyweight now. So he's had to take a little bit of time to get his body back used to being at flyweight, get his frame strong for flyweight, and I think he's going to do well. I really think he's going to do well in this fight. Pantoja didn't look that great in his last fight against Steve Erceg, and it was the grappling that only just got him through it. I feel like Asakura has more pop in his shots than Erceg, and I feel like he's I don't know, man. I don't know what to say, just because we all don't know as much about Asakura as we are going to, as opposed to any other contender coming up in flyweight in the UFC. That is why I want to support this guy. He's a newcomer. I see a lot of people slating him online, people saying that he doesn't deserve the title shot, but who the fuck else does, man? Do you want to see the third Royval fight or the fourth Royval fight, whichever fucking one we're on now? No, you want to see the exciting new prospect coming over from Rising, taking the belt off of Pantoja and blowing up the UFC. That's what we want to fucking see, man. So I'm going to be rooting for Asakura going into this fight, but that is not to ignore the advantages that Pantoja is going to have. You know, he's going to be able to exploit the habits of Asakura, who's going to be hungry to be throwing some fucking knees to the head while Pantoja is just on his knees grabbing him, because you know that's what Pantoja likes to do. And even though Pantoja has shown dominance throughout his UFC career, it does feel like we're kind of coming to the end of the road. You know, like I said, Usyk had really, really great moments in their fight, and a lot of people feel like he should have won that fight. Is time up for Alexandre Pantoja? Maybe, man. Because like I said, he didn't do as well in the Usyk fight as I thought he was going to, and that is concerning. You know, for Pantoja and holding his legacy over flyweight. So we're just going to have to see what happens, but there's not too much more I can say about these two fighters. So let's keep moving through the card because there is so many bangers on here. Next fight we are talking about is, we've got Ciryl Gane versus Alexander Volkov, a fight that has already happened before, a fight where Ciryl Gane found the win. Now, I am leaning towards Ciryl Gane going into this fight, despite the fact that Alexander Volkov is in the prime of his career right now. Just absolutely schooled Pavlovich in a fight where a lot of people thought Pavlovich was going to fucking slump Alexander Volkov. And I really do want Volkov to win. I would prefer to see a Volkov win here. I'd love to see Volkov in the rematch against Tom Aspinall, even though I probably think that Tom Aspinall would get that win. I just like to see Volkov win. But I think that Ciryl Gane is someone that, you know, even though he lost to John Jones, he's a very reliable fighter. He always has elite striking. He's a very skilled guy, and I feel like a lot of people are just counting him out because of the time out of the octagon, because of the fact it seems like he's not as dedicated to the sport as he used to be. Yeah, all that's well and good, but that you have to remember, he's already beaten Volkov before. He knows what Volkov wants to do in the octagon, and I feel like he's going to use that against him. Also, another thing to note going into this fight is a disadvantage that both of these fighters share. It is the grappling. I don't really think we're going to see any grappling in this fight, meaning it's all going to come down to just the striking versus striking, and I feel like Ciryl Gane's striking is just superior to Alexander Volkov's. That's why I don't really think we can make an argument for a Volkov win here, even though I really do want him to. I'm just going to keep it real with you all. This is going to be a Ciryl Gane win. I'm probably going to say by decision, though. I don't think Ciryl Gane is going to finish Volkov, especially not with how he's been looking right now. So for an early prediction, put this one down as a Ciryl Gane decision win. Let's keep it stepping through the card, though, because we've got another couple fights to talk about before this video is done. Next one we are talking about is Movsar Evloev versus Aljamain Sterling, a highly anticipated matchup in the featherweight division. Two grapplers going at it, and I think that Movsar Evloev might actually pick up the win here. I don't know if Aljamain Sterling is going to have the strength to manhandle Evloev and find a submission against him. I think Evloev actually has the advantage in the grappling, and he has the ultra strength factor, also the heart factor. We've seen him almost get finished by Diego Lopez. You know, he's been putting some nasty submissions before and just outlasted them. We've seen him deal with great strikers before and take a beating. Look at the Arnold Allen fight. I just really think that Evloev can take whatever comes at him in the featherweight division right now, and I feel like he's going to be able to take Aljamain Sterling. This is going to be a statement fight for him because even though Evloev is undefeated, he is a very inactive fighter, meaning that he's not really up there in the rankings to say that he has wins over ranked contenders. Aljamain Sterling is that kind of contender that makes you put your eyes on who he's fighting. You know, we saw Aljamain go in there against Cater and he absolutely destroyed it. But if Cater would have won there, everyone would be talking about Cater. Oh my god, he just beat Aljamain. That's crazy. I feel like this is what's going to happen here with Evloev, and I feel like a win here is going to set him up for the Diego Lopez rematch that I think really needs to happen before Diego Lopez gets a title shot. I feel like he needs to prove himself against Movsar Evloev, who he's lost to before. If he can pick up the win there, then absolutely give him the title shot. He's just, you know, gone back and avenged the loss. But if he loses again, then it shows, no, Evloev is the more superior fighter and that he deserves the title shot. Now, I'm not saying any of this because I'm a fan of Evloev. I actually think he's a horrible human being. If you look into some of the shit that he's done in the past, he's actually a bit of a weirdo. But you know me, I keep it real. I keep it about the fucking sport right here. So I'm saying Movsar Evloev is going to pick up the win here at UFC 310. Nothing more to be said. So let's keep it stepping. Let's talk about the other fights on the card, the next fight we're talking about is we have Vicente Luque versus Nick Diaz. Now, I'm going to keep my opinions on this fight very, very brief. I just think this is going to be a win for Vicente Luque, probably a finish. I just don't think Nick Diaz has it anymore. He hasn't had a win since 2011. He's an absolute legend of the sport, and don't get me wrong, if he does get the win, he's probably going to edge out a super close fight that he's going to get gifted a decision win. Probably a robbery fight, honestly. Like, that's the only ways I can see Nick Diaz getting a win here, and that isn't to say that I'm not a fan of his. He's an absolute idol of mine. I really look up to him, but, you know, even though Vicente Luque hasn't looked that great in recent history, you know, you can't forget, bro, his prime was since Nick Diaz's last win. Just think about, like, bro, Nick Diaz has not had a win in so long. It is crazy to expect him to win here. So don't expect it. I'm probably going to be picking Vicente Luque, even though, similar to the Alexander Volkov fight, I am just desperate for Nick Diaz to get the win. Last fight we're going to be talking about today, people, is Bryan Battle versus Randy Brown. Now, I'm not sure if this fight has actually been announced, but I think this is going to be an absolute banger, and I think that this is going to be another win for the Butcher. He's coming off that sick win against Kevin Doucette at UFC Paris, and I feel like Randy Brown, don't get me wrong, he's an exciting contender. He's had some good wins, but he has been around for a while, and I just don't know if he has the skills to deal with Bryan Battle, people. I feel like he is on an absolute tear right now, and you need to invest your time into this guy because it's going to pay off later when he is destroying people in the rankings. I feel like there's a future star in Bryan Battle, and I don't think that we need to get in any of the deep nitty-gritty of this fight yet. We'll do that on fight week. I'm just saying, early prediction here, Bryan Battle finish. I don't care. But I'm going to finish up the video here, people. I hope you've all enjoyed, and you know what I'm going to say. You don't have to like, you don't have to subscribe. Do what the fuck you want, man. But have a nice day, evening, night, whatever the fuck you're doing. And I'll catch you all later. Peace.